There's a lot of yeah, there's just a
But I
lot of, oh, he's watching me, but I'm not bothered by that because he wants to keep me safe and he actually just really admires me. Like, this is all just the mind of an insecure female. Like, this is all exactly that to a T, just as a romance novel.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with that. I've never read a romance novel. Like this is the
Neither have
first.
I.
Yeah, this is
Well,
the
except
first
for
one I
this.
have. Yeah. So I don't really
It's for
know.
teens.
Yeah, and I really don't know the genre. So because of that, so
But I was also a teenager and I didn't want to, like, it didn't, it wasn't the same, like, it wouldn't be the same thing to read about people fucking. Like,
right. Yeah.
it would
Although,
be very exciting for the flirt.
yeah, my big thing when I was it was curse words, and then anything graphic or violent like that would usually be like, ooh. I always tell the story of when I first saw like the word damn or shit in like a book and how tingly it made me. Kind of, I was in like fourth or fifth grade, and I remember it
Hmm.
was in one of those. You remember those My Name Is America
No.
books that they pushed them on young boys. I guess girls had like American Doll or American
Yeah,
Girl.
we had
The
those.
boys had the version of that called like the My Name Is America thing, where they were like these diaries of different young men in history. So like there was one I
We had the
remember.
like diary. Well, we had, I don't know if they were like diaries or if they were always like, they had those like gilded pages
Right, yeah.
shit. Yeah.
And they were written, at least the My Name Is America stuff written, and they had a bunch of different experiences. So you got to experience like not experiences, but different perspectives. So there was one I remember very distinctly about like a Japanese American boy that was put into one of the Japanese camps during World War II here in America, and like that was invigorating. But the one I really remember was a World War II one where this like 16-year-old boy was in World War II, and he kept talking about like his nuts shriveling up for being scared and like saying damn and hell and shit. And I was like, oh, and I was like 10 years old reading this book being like, oh my god, this is so badass. Like,
Yeah.
so that was my first memory of that shit. And then by high school time, dude, I was pretty deep into like Chuck Palahniuk and all that kind of shit at the time. 2007, 2006, Kurt Vonnegut. I was just discovering that kind of shit and like loving it. All the typical things that people make fun of men for online. I was into it, and I was unapologetically into it. Still apologetically into it. So yeah, but yeah, there's that. So that's really my thing. And I wanted to talk to Sophie about this too. We talked about like the male female a little bit, how like not that like it's different, but just how we got like different perspectives, like the associations that women make for things to sex versus the associations that I would make or an
Okay,
average
just
man would make
all right,
towards
just hear me
sex.
out.
Yeah,
Hear me
go
out.
for it. Speak on it. Yeah.
I was stunned by the unexpected electricity that flowed through me, amazed that it was possible to be more aware of him than I already was. A crazy impulse to reach over and touch him, to stroke his perfect cock just once in the darkness, nearly overwhelmed me. Now, the actual word there is face.
But your brain immediately went to cock.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even though, and now I say that now as an adult, my teenage brain would not have done that. But this is like, when you think about how much face touching there is in this book, like,
Yeah.
it is really weird. It is like a really weird, like, fantasy of somebody who has never been in a romantic relationship.
Right.
It's just like every moment is designed to be like peak romantic, you know? It's never, it's very rarely just like playful. And when it's playful, it's like he's strongly carrying her with one arm or something, where it's very clear that like she is not his equal.
Yeah. He's about to manhandle her. Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Throw her down on the
there's so
bed.
much face touching, like all of these moments that are like either supposed to be either playful or romantic, like always feel overdone, but completely out of the brain of somebody who has never.
Yeah, because if you were, because that association, so like when you replace the word face with the word cock, like that sounds like a regular kind of romance novel. Like that sounds like
Yeah.
the type of romance novel you'd pick up at an airport.
Exactly, but
Like,
teens only care about touching, like teen girls are like, no, I want to stroke your face in the
yeah,
dark,
and there is something intimate about like
cry on your
face.
chest,
There
have you
is
tell me that you still love me.
And there is something sensual about like face touching, hair touching. Those are two things that are always a little sensual, no matter how you put them into anything. Because it is just, you have to be very close to someone to do that. You have to have that trust, unless there's some type of violent reaction. If somebody's like touching your face when you don't want them to, you usually have to be close and vulnerable and all that kind of shit for them to touch your hair or face type thing. So I understand that aspect. But yeah, as like an adult reading, as like a 30-year-old adult reading this, it's just kind of like, uh, uh,
Stroke his perfect cock just once in the dark, nearly overwhelmed.
quivering member,
Yeah, dude.
oiled by the female's
Like
juices.
I just outlined this whole page and just wrote sex in the margins like 4 times. The hour seemed very long. I couldn't concentrate on the movie. I didn't even know what subject it was on. I tried unsuccessfully to relax, but the electric current that seemed to be originating from somewhere in his body never slackened. Like everything sounds like a boner.
Oh yeah.
Occasionally, I would permit myself a quick glance in his direction, but he never seemed to relax either. The overpowering craving to touch him also refused to fade, and I crushed my fist safely against my ribs until my fingers were aching with the effort. I breathed a sigh of relief when this is all happening in class, I believe, by the way. I breathed a sigh of relief when Mr. Banner flicked the lights back on at the end of class and stretched my arms out in front of me, flexing my stiff fingers. Edward chuckled beside me. Well, that was interesting, he murmured. That's just like, I assume about 40 minutes of them sitting next to each other. Which, like, does, I guess, describe that. Like, I
That, and
guess
I'm
nature
trying to
in
be
like a
fair.
fairly realistic way, but also, I mean, I just wrote sex all over this.
Yeah, I was gonna say it. Yeah. Oh yeah. And I'm trying to be fair too. So I'm like, all right, put myself in a teenage brain. And it is fucking hard for me to do for a lot of things because, you know,
Yeah, if you put yourself there and like think about like sitting next to somebody that you were like really
crushing
into.
on in class. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's like that internal anxiety or nervousness when like the hot girl or guy sits next to you for your bio lab and you're like, oh, yeah, kind of thing, right? If Kristen Stewart came and sat next to me, I'd be like, oh, yeah, yeah, pretty girl, yeah, whatever you want. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care.